My husband stole my money, cheated with my best friend, so I ruined his life, a revenge story. My name is Olivia, and I thought I had the perfect marriage. I gave up everything, my dreams, my career, my independence, only to realize I was nothing more than a pawn in my husband's game. For years, I was blind to the lies, the betrayal, the secret life he built behind my back. But when I finally uncovered the truth, I knew one thing: this time, I wouldn't be the one left broken. Because if he thought he could take everything from me and walk away unscathed, he was dead wrong. 15 years ago, I married Nathan, believing I had found a partner, someone who would cherish and protect me. I gave up my promising career in marketing to focus on raising our son, Leo, and making our house a home. That's what a good wife does, right? At least, that's what my mother-in-law, Eleanor, constantly reminded me. Women don't need careers, she'd say, waving her manicured hand dismissively. Your real job is taking care of my son. He works hard for this family, Olivia. You should be grateful. Grateful. That was her favorite word. But in reality, I did everything. I cooked, cleaned, handled all of Leo's school activities, and even took on freelance work just to help with the bills. Meanwhile, Nathan came home, put his feet up, and acted like he was the king of the castle. If I ever asked for help, he'd sigh dramatically and say, I already do enough. You just don't appreciate me. I should have seen the warning signs sooner. Nathan never defended me when his mother criticized me, never thanked me for my sacrifices, never even noticed when I stopped dressing up, stopped putting on makeup, stopped being me. And then there was the money. Before my father passed away, he left me a generous inheritance, a safety net for me and Leo. Nathan insisted we put it into a joint account, saying it was for our family's future. I trusted him. I believed him. But when I casually checked the balance one day, my stomach dropped. It was empty. I froze. I checked again, convinced it had to be a mistake. But no. The account that once held everything I had left from my father was completely drained. Nathan, I said that night, my voice careful, did you withdraw money from our savings? He barely looked up from his phone. Yeah, I had some expenses. It's for the house, don't worry about it. Expenses? Nathan, there was nearly $200,000 in that account. Where did it go? His expression hardened. I said, don't worry about it, Olivia. I'm handling things. Handling things? That's when I knew something was wrong. But the final blow didn't come until a week later, when I overheard a conversation that shattered everything I believed in. I should have trusted my instincts. I should have dug deeper the moment I saw that empty bank account. But a part of me, maybe the part still clinging to the illusion of my marriage, didn't want to believe Nathan could betray me like that. Then came the night that shattered everything. Nathan had been acting distant, leaving early for work meetings, staying out late, and being glued to his phone whenever he was home. At first, I told myself I was imagining things. Maybe work was just stressful. Maybe he was tired. Maybe I was being paranoid. But paranoia doesn't drain bank accounts, and paranoia doesn't whisper secrets in the middle of the night. That evening, I was finishing up the dishes when I heard his voice coming from the living room. It wasn't the usual tired, grumbling tone he used with me. No, this was different. Low, careful, almost affectionate. I wiped my hands on a dish towel and stepped toward the hallway, my heart already hammering in my chest. Relax, baby, Nathan said, a quiet chuckle in his voice. She has no idea. I froze. She? I pressed my back against the wall, barely breathing. She's too busy playing house to notice anything, he continued. Yeah, soon. I'll make sure she doesn't get in the way. My stomach twisted into knots. Who was he talking to? What was he planning? I took another step closer, careful not to make a sound. From where I stood, I could see him reclining on the couch, one arm draped lazily over the backrest, his feet propped up on the coffee table. He swirled a glass of whiskey in his hand, completely at ease. I pulled out my phone, pressing record. And then I heard something that made my blood run cold. The house will be in our name soon. I already moved the money. She won't see a dime. The house I had worked so hard to build, the house where I had raised our son, the house he was trying to take from me. I bit down on my lips so hard I tasted blood. Then a woman's voice came through the speaker, light and playful, a voice I knew all too well. Ugh, finally, Nathan, she sighed. I was starting to think you'd never leave her. My breath caught in my throat. Emma, my so-called best friend, the woman I had trusted, the woman who had held my hand at my wedding and toasted to my happily ever after. Bile rose in my throat. I wanted to storm in, to scream, to grab his phone and throw it across the room. But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I stood there, gripping my phone so tightly my knuckles ached. If I lost control now, I'd lose everything. I needed to be smart. I forced myself to breathe, to think. Before we continue this story, I want to take a moment to connect with all of you, my incredible viewers. Where are you watching from? Drop your country's flag in the comments below. And hey, I know some of you might be watching this alone, feeling like no one understands what you're going through. But remember this, you are not alone. Because right now, I'm here telling this story with you. Now let's get back to it. That night, I barely slept. I kept replaying Nathan's words, Emma's voice, the way he so casually tossed me aside like I was nothing. I thought about the empty bank account, about the way he always dismissed my concerns, about how Eleanor had been unusually smug lately. And then it all made sense. This wasn't just an affair, it was a plan. Nathan had been moving the pieces for months, maybe even years. First, convincing me to put my inheritance into a joint account. Then, slowly draining it without me noticing. The way Eleanor always said things like, "You should be grateful my son provides for you," as if she already knew what was coming. They weren't just trying to replace me, they were trying to erase me. By morning, the shock had burned away, leaving only one thing in its place, rage. Nathan had underestimated me. He thought I'd cry, beg, let him walk all over me. But he forgot something important. I wasn't the same woman he married. And now, it was my turn to make the next move. I spent the next few days in absolute silence, moving through the house like a ghost. I cooked, cleaned, smiled when necessary. But inside, I was calculating, watching, waiting. Nathan thought I was oblivious. He thought he had me wrapped around his finger. But he had no idea I was already planning his downfall. First, I needed proof. The recording I had was damning, but I wanted more. I started keeping a closer eye on his habits. His phone never left his side, but he was careless with his laptop. At night, while he was in the shower, I slipped into his home office and opened it. I wasn't surprised to find his emails filled with plans for a new house. A house he and Emma were already picking out together. There were real estate listings, discussions about mortgage options, and even a contract he had already signed, with my money. I took screenshots, forwarding every document to my private email. Then I dug deeper. I checked our joint bank statements, my hands trembling as I scrolled through the transactions. Over the past year, he had slowly funneled every last cent of my inheritance into an account under his name, a separate hidden account. But the final nail in his coffin? I found a text conversation with Eleanor. "Eleanor, once the house is signed over, Olivia won't have any claim to it. You just have to get rid of her first. Nathan, she'll sign the divorce papers when she realizes she has nothing left. She won't have a choice. Eleanor, make sure she doesn't find a good lawyer. We need her out quietly." I sat there, numb. My husband and his mother had been planning this for months, maybe longer. They were waiting for the right moment to cut me out completely and leave me with nothing. I stared at the screen, my hands tightening into fists. They wanted to play dirty? I'd show them what dirty really looked like. I spent the next week preparing. I met with a lawyer in secret, showing her everything, the financial records, the recordings, the texts. I told her I wanted a divorce on my terms. I wanted the house, full custody of Leo, and every last penny they stole from me. She smiled. "They've left a paper trail of fraud and conspiracy. We're going to bury them." But I wasn't finished yet. Nathan and Eleanor had spent years making me feel small. They thought I was weak, a pushover, someone they could trample without consequences. So I decided to hit them where it hurt the most. Public humiliation. I planned a family dinner, inviting Nathan's closest friends, some of his colleagues, and of course, Eleanor and Emma. I told Nathan it was a celebration for our future together. He bought it instantly, too caught up in his own arrogance to suspect anything. The night of the dinner, I dressed in a way I hadn't in years. Confident, powerful, untouchable. As guests arrived, Nathan basked in the attention, laughing and playing the role of the devoted husband. Eleanor whispered snide remarks in my ear about how I should learn to appreciate her son more. And Emma? She sat across from me, sipping wine, completely unaware that I knew everything. I let them enjoy themselves. I let them believe they had won. Then, when dinner was nearly over, I stood up and tapped my glass. "I just want to take a moment to thank my wonderful husband," I said, my voice smooth. 15 years of marriage. It hasn't always been easy, but I want to acknowledge all the hard work he's been doing behind the scenes. Nathan smirked, raising his glass. "That's why tonight," I continued, reaching for the remote, "I wanted to share something special." I clicked a button, and the television screen behind me lit up. At first, there was silence. Then Nathan's own voice filled the room. "Relax, baby. She has no idea." A murmur spread through the room. I watched as Nathan froze, his face draining of color. "The house will be in our name soon. I already moved the money. She won't see a dime." Eleanor's wine glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the table. Emma's jaw dropped. Then came the text messages. Every single lie, every betrayal, every plan, laid out in black and white for everyone to see. Nathan lunged for the remote, but I stepped back, raising a hand. "Oh, don't worry," I said, smiling coldly. "There's more." Then I slammed a folder down onto the table. Legal documents, bank statements, evidence of fraud. "I've already filed for divorce," I announced. "You're broke. The house, it's mine. The money, I've frozen every account. And Leo? You'll never see him again." Nathan staggered back, looking around the room as if anyone could save him. But no one moved. No one spoke. And then, as if the universe wanted to land the final blow, his boss, one of the guests I had invited, stood up, shaking his head. "We don't tolerate fraud in our company, Nathan," he said. "You're fired." The room was dead silent. Eleanor sputtered, pointing a shaking finger at me. You, I turned to her, my voice like ice. "You wanted me gone? Congratulations, Eleanor. I'm leaving, but your son is coming with me." Emma stood abruptly, grabbing her purse. "Nathan, you told me she didn't know." Nathan turned to her, desperate. "Emma, wait." But she was already gone. And just like that, everything he built, his affair, his lies, his perfect little plan, collapsed. Nathan sank into his chair, speechless. I took one last look at him, at the man who had betrayed me so completely. Then I walked out the door without looking back. The moment I stepped out of that house, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: freedom. For so long, I had been trapped in a cycle of sacrifice, of bending over backward for a man who never deserved me. I had given him everything: my love, my trust, my loyalty, only to be repaid with lies and betrayal. But not anymore. Nathan lost everything that night: his affair, his deception, his fraud. It all unraveled before his eyes, leaving him with nothing but regret and humiliation. I walked away with my dignity, my home, my son, and my future intact. And as I stepped into my car, I took a deep breath, feeling lighter than I had in years. The divorce process moved faster than I expected. Nathan tried to fight it at first, but with all the evidence against him, he had no choice but to surrender. The judge ruled in my favor. I got the house, full custody of Leo, and he was ordered to repay every last cent he had stolen. Nathan and Eleanor's downfall didn't end there. Word about his fraudulent financial activity spread quickly, and he was blacklisted in his industry. No company wanted to hire a man who had stolen from his own wife. His reputation was ruined. His once loyal friends distanced themselves, not wanting to be associated with a liar and a cheat. Eleanor, who had spent her whole life looking down on me, calling me worthless, found herself destitute and alone. She had relied on Nathan's success to maintain her lavish lifestyle, but with no money, no house, and no influence left, she was forced to move into a tiny apartment far from the privileged life she once enjoyed. As for Emma, she learned the hard way that a man who betrays once will betray again. When she realized Nathan had nothing left to offer her, she disappeared. No calls, no messages, just gone. Karma had done its job, but while their lives crumbled, mine was just beginning. With my inheritance restored, I finally pursued the dreams I had abandoned. I launched my own business, one that thrived beyond my expectations. I built a life where I no longer had to answer to anyone. Most importantly, Leo and I were happy. I no longer had to walk on eggshells in my own home, no longer had to shield my son from his father's neglect. Instead, I focused on giving him the life he deserved, one filled with love, stability, and joy. Months later, an email landed in my inbox. It was from Nathan. Subject: I'm sorry. I stared at it for a long moment before clicking it open. "Olivia, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need you to know that I regret everything. I messed up. I lost everything. I was stupid and selfish, and I would do anything to undo the damage I caused. Please, just give me a chance to make things right. I miss you. I miss Leo. Please, can we talk?" I didn't hesitate. I deleted the email without replying. Nathan had made his choices, and I had made mine. For the first time in a long time, I was truly, completely free. This story isn't just about betrayal and revenge. It's about taking back control. For years, Olivia gave everything to a man who saw her as nothing more than a convenience. She sacrificed, she endured, she trusted. But when the truth came out, she did something truly powerful. She refused to be a victim. Her story is a reminder that self-worth is not defined by the way others treat us. It's about knowing when to walk away, when to fight back, and when to reclaim the life that was always meant to be yours. Olivia didn't just escape, she thrived. And in the end, she showed that karma always has a way of finding those who deserve it. Now, I want to hear from you. If you loved this story and felt empowered by Olivia's journey, drop a 2 in the comments. If you think the story should have ended differently, comment 7. I want to know your thoughts. And hey, if you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another one. Your support means everything, and I love sharing these moments with all of you. Until next time, remember your worth, stand your ground, and never let anyone dim your light.